What is going on, everybody? My name is Malik Brown, here for Rolling Out, and I have the pleasure to be here for Meet the Author. And I have the pleasure as well to be speaking with Cue Simpkins. Miss Cue Simpkins, she is the author of the book Prince Patches. Miss Simpkins, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I am wonderful. I'm ecstatic, really, and I'm excited. Thank you for asking.
Man, look, I'm glad we can get that good, positive, exciting energy going for this interview because I'm excited to talk about this book. So, if you know nobody's read this book, nobody knows what Prince Patches is. Just let the people know, what is Prince Patches? What is this book about?
Prince Patches. Prince Patches really is a real live dog, and he is a Maltese Shih Tzu designer dog, and he's a lot of fun. He has a lot of energy. But the main thing about the book is it teaches kids about responsibility. Kids need to understand that having a pet comes with a responsibility. And children are always asking their parents, Mommy, Daddy, I want a dog. I want a dog. And most kids want a dog, and they don't realize the responsibility that comes with having a dog, like taking it for a walk, feeding it, keeping it groomed, taking it to the vet, and all the expenses, of course, end up with the parent. So really, this book for ages, my audience that is targeted is ages 4 through 12, and at that age group, parents are the ones that's going to be buying the book. Of course, unless kids get an allowance. You know, a lot of kids get an allowance and like, okay, Sam, if you want this book, you get an allowance every week. So you save your money and you can get the book. And you can also save your money and you can get a dog. So now they see, well, oh, I don't want to spend my money to get a dog. Well, you got to, as an educator, responsibility is a character education word. So therefore, kids need to know the sense of responsibility.
And you talk about just responsibility in kids. Is that kind of what inspired you to write this book, or was it something else that kind of really grabbed your interest when it came to sparking this idea of making this book?
That's an excellent question. What inspired me to write this book is when I bought Prince Patches. I bought him. I didn't have a dog, and it was just myself and my sister. She was like, you should get a dog. They are a lot of company. I was like, well, I had never, really thought about, getting a dog. So I bought Prince Patches. Like I said, he's a designer dog. He's Maltese and Shih Tzu. And when I bought him, I realized this dog is a lot of responsibility. I don't have time for this. I got to clean up after him. Oh my God, look what he's made a mess. You got to have a certain area for your dog. So when I first got him, I was like, okay, I don't need a dog. So now I'm looking for someone who wants a dog, you know. And so this family, they wanted the dog for their 2 little children. So they come over to get the dog. He would not go. And the father was like, I'm very good with pets, but I never met a pet like this one. Look how he stands next to you. He won't even move. So I was like, Patches, you got to leave. I don't have the time to take care of a dog. It's too much responsibility. So they didn't take him because he just would not, I don't know, he just would not go. No, he would not go. And he ran away from them. And when I was looking for him, he was on the back step, like, let me in. I'm not going anywhere. So I look at Patches, I bring him in the house, and they said they were not going to take him. They just couldn't take him. So I said, you know what, Patches? I'm gonna get rid of you. And he looked at me like, I'm not going anywhere. It's like I could read him. I start bonding, had that connection. And then I say, you know what, Patches? I'm gonna write a book about you. I told him I was gonna write a book about him. I literally meant it. I said, because it's just a lot of responsibility when you have to go out of town, or you got to put them at a pet resort, or you got to travel with them. You can't just leave them home, a pet home by himself. So anyway, I decided I was going to write a book about Prince Patches. And the word Prince is in memory of Prince. And that's why Patches is Prince Patches, because Patches really is a prince. He's a really good dog. And I'm so glad I kept him because he inspired me to write a book about him, which is nonfiction. And he is a prince. And so, with that being said, I, start writing, and I like, okay, I'm gonna find me an illustrator, a really great illustrator that will work with me. And it's been a journey, but it's been a fun journey, and it's taught me a lot as an adult, you know. So I say children loves animals, not necessarily have to be a dog, but they love dogs, they like cats, gerbils, just different types of animals, but they're all responsibility. All animals are some sort of responsibility. So that inspired me to write Prince Patches. And like I say, he's a great dog, and I did a lot, I did a lot of research, but bonding with him, I knew he understood me, and I understood him, and that's what inspired me. And and that could go for an adults too, because a lot of other people out there, adults never had a dog, and they decide they want a dog. Well, honey, you're gonna have a lot of responsibility, you know, and that's what happens. Their responsibility, not just for children, but for the grown up too, if they decided they wanted a pet.
I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be one of my questions. It kind of, because I know a lot of adults, they haven't had dogs, and once they see the price, and everything else you have to do is kind of like, oh man, this is kind of like having a kid. Like it's like to have another.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. That is so true. So, it goes both ways. So, like I said, for character, I mean, responsibility, it has to do with character, and it has to do with discipline. It's a discipline too, because you have to train, your pet, because if you don't, then there are no boundaries, and you have to set boundaries with a dog, just like parents have to set boundaries with their children. So you have to have boundaries.
And I know in the overview, reading it, you talked about the patch on Patch's eye. And I
Yes.
know it kind of seems symbolic. But if you could give us a meaning of of the patch on Patch's eye, what would you say that represents?
Uniqueness. He's unique. He um is distinct, if you so to speak. It's distinct because when I first uh was looking online, and that's where I find them, because at this pet, these people, they breed pets, and they breed dogs and designer dogs, and when I was looking online, he stood out. He stood out from all the other dogs, and I'm unique. I see myself as a unique person, because I like different. I'm different in a certain way within myself. So I saw Patches as different, and the patch around the eye, it drew my attention because it was different. None of the other dogs had that patch, and so he was the one I wanted, because he had the patch and he was different. And I wanted a male dog, and he was male, you know. And And then he had the patches, the sable with his sable color. He had patches on his back, on his tail, these different patches. And so with the black patch around one eye and the other eye was just, everything was just white. So it was like a black and white thing, and so that kind of drew my attention. And it also drew my attention to put a glossary in the back of my book because of vocabulary and words that children 4 and 5 years old or 6 years old might not understand. So that's why I put certain words when I was writing the book. I put certain words in the text, and then I decided I'm going to create a glossary. So when the parent, even the 9 or 10-year-old is reading the book and they don't understand a word like the sclera, which is SCLERA, if they don't understand that word, then you can look in the glossary, and then that particular sentence will make sense if you know the meaning of the word. Because a lot of our children, they can read, but they don't comprehend what they're reading. And if there's a key word, there's always a key word in a sentence. But if you don't know the meaning of the word, then you're not going to understand what the statement is saying. So it's educational. And this is the first series, first of 5. So yeah, so now I'm continuing my writing on Prince Patches. So I should hopefully have another book coming out by the end of the year.
So you talk about the next 5 you have. So and I just want to talk about how you say, it's an educational book, but it says also nonfiction, but it's also it has a glossary. It's kind of like a self-help book as well. Like it's kind of like 5 types of book in one. Like how important was it for you to kind of get all those type of things going in this book and to help young kids with with learning things and helping them with this stuff and putting the glossary in the back of the book to help them understand words?
Well, first of all, you have to have a passion. You have to have a passion and a desire for what you're doing. And with my book, it's it's a nonfiction. And it's nonfiction because Patches is real. If I had to bring him to a book signing, so to speak, they would see this is him, and this is exactly how he looks. So I started this book off as nonfiction because it's sharing the journey from the time I got him to where he is now. But my series will go into fiction. Now, all the creativity, the creativity, the vision, we have visions, we have creativity, we have imagination, we have dreams. So now all of this from this book, this first book, which is nonfiction, now we're going to move it into fiction with the other series. Because since Prince Patches is real, now I can create all kinds of things and journeys about him that's fiction. Because kids love to read fiction because it's make believe. It's almost like a Harry Potter. Oh, can Patches really fly? Well, now he has wings. But he still has on that purple cape. But I didn't know he could fly. And that's like it's coming to me as I speak to you, because he could fly. He has a cape. He doesn't have to have wings. His cape is just like being Superman, where he's Super Prince Patches, and now he's flying through the air you know, and he has his crown on his head, and he has his purple cape that's flying like Superman. You know, Superman didn't have wings, but he had on his cape. That makes sense, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So, and with kids, you have to be able, to give them something that's going to hook them. And once you got them hooked, that, you know, because we have children that don't want to read, they have problem with reading, uh, their lexile levels are low. So you give them something that they want to read, something that they're going to enjoy. And it could start with Prince Patches, like, oh, well, I like this book, so this is what I'm going to read. Or I like to read cartoons, you know, so, but at least you're reading something. But as they get older, they're going to advance. They're going to advance, because I've seen it. I've seen it, you know. So it can happen. It will happen, because reading is very excuse me, reading is very crucial, and it's imperative that our children read.
and I
Must read.
and I think it's cool too to see you know, just in the past and when I was a kid, you know, they had shows with dogs. Like, you know, you had Clifford the Big Red Dog,
Right.
with Rough Men, you had Dalmatians, like movies, and all of them
Right.
were educational, all of them were teaching you something. So just, you know, just to look back at that, you know, how important are dogs in our life?
Yeah. Yeah. How important are they? They say, you know, the old saying, a dog is a man's best friend. Well, Patches, when I look at his eyes, I see my mother's eyes. I do. I cannot explain it, because my mother's eyes were beautiful golden brown. And so when I look at Patches, and the way he looks at me, it's like my mother is looking at me. You know, I can't really explain it, but that's what I see. And I don't have to explain it, because it's for me to see. You know, what's for me to see is for me to see. No one else is going to see what I see, because I know my mother's eyes.
And it seems that like your mother, you know, was a very big part of your life. Oh, can you hear me? Ooh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you know, you talk about, you know, your mother, and it seemed like she was a big, important part of your life. Um, you know, how could this relate to a kid, you know, reading this book and seeing, you know, man, this dog reminds me of this or this, or reminds me of this person. Just how important is that?
Well, I lost my mother in 2020 to Alzheimer's. To Alzheimer's, and I was there, and I saw her eyes. And now, when I look at my dog, I still see her eyes, because they're the same color. And my mother was she was a role model. She's good, what you call good people. You know, I'm old school, but I understand the new school. But she was good, a good person, and she always told me that if people ever talk about you, it's because you're important. And I was 10 years old when she first told me that. And she was a motivator. She always told me, you know, I think you should be on TV. She have always told me that. And I have been in movies, um, and I've been in stage plays. I attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in LA. I auditioned. I got accepted. So I went to LA and attended the prestigious American Academy. And I love all the experience, and I still, I love entertainment. I love it. That's a passion. And I recently played in a movie last year called Home, about this guy that has PTSD. And those movies now, like on Amazon Prime, yeah, and the movie Charlie, where I played the grandmother to the leading actress, that's on Prime, and it's also on Tubi. So I've done some things. I would love to do more, you know. And I was in Meet the Browns, with Angela Bassett. That was back in what, 2007. Time just going by so fast. Yeah, I had a role in Meet the Browns, the movie, the movie. So, and the only reason how I got that role was they say they called me up and say, your resume stood out from everybody else. And I was like, how? They said, well, you have on here, you know how to milk cows. I say, I say, but I do. And see, that's where my mother comes back into the picture, because she always say, never get where ever forget where you come from. Be authentic, be real. Don't, you have no control over where who your parents are. And I had great parents. You have no, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I was born and I was born and raised in a great home with both parents. So that says a lot by itself. And I was brought up on a farm, and I knew how to milk cows, and I know how to ride horses. I still ride horses because I love horses. So basically, and then having a pet, like a dog. My mother, she loved cats. She loved cats. I didn't care for cats. And she always believed that a dog belonged outside, but my dog belongs inside because he's a prince. You cannot leave a prince outside. He has to be inside. He's a prince. He wears a crown. He tells me what he wants. So she always says a dog belongs outside. But when she met Patches for the first time, she says, he seemed like a good little dog. I think I let him stay in here because I went home to visit her one weekend, when I first got him. And she thought he was just so cute. I said, well, he can't go outside, Mom. He's inside dog. He don't go. She said, well, I let him stay inside because he's just so cute. He's only 8 pounds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's little.
I like
Yeah,
that.
he's
I
little.
like that.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part about writing this whole book? What did you like most about writing it?
My imagination. I think a lot. And I think anybody that thinks a lot should write a lot. You need to write down your thoughts. And I enjoy writing about Patches because I know if God gave it to me, that it was for me. And before I wrote it, I said, well, I'm going to Google, see if there's anything out there titled Prince Patches. Nothing. Any kind of book, print, no books. So I knew God had given it to me. I felt it. It wasn't for anybody else. My name was on this. Only thing I saw when I Googled Prince Patches, only thing I saw was like Prince, Prince, our Prince, of course. And that's the only thing you would see was about Prince. I said, there's nothing that says Prince Patches. And if you saw the word patches, you will see patches with prints that you can sew, put on your clothes and stuff like that. But there's no book. There's no Prince Patches as a book. Nothing about a dog called Prince Patches. So that's because it's for you.
Oh,
It wasn't for anybody else.
Right, exactly.
And that inspired me to get started. This your book.
Yes.
And learn to keep your visions to yourself. You can't always share your vision because this is a business to me. And anytime you go into a business, you have to go into it with open eyes and reality, because not everybody is going to support you. That's just being real. Even if they might like it, don't mean that they're going to support it.
Those are some real words for anybody out here that's listening. You only believe in your vision only.
Right. Because a lot of times people take other people's visions and they run with it. They run. Oh, I got this. And it's, I don't know if you ever heard of Stevie Nicks. You ever heard of Stevie Nicks, the singer? Okay. I recall in a song that she sings she sung this song, and it's an old song. And she would say, I keep my visions to myself. That was in my head. Keep your visions to yourself and share it when it's done. When your vision come to fruition, then you can share it. So that's what I've learned.
Love that. Wrapping up, Miss Simpkins. Let the people know. I mean, of course, you talked earlier about the 5 books, but what else is next for you? What else do you have planned in the future?
Well, I hope to go on. I have a lot of book signings coming up, especially next month. My hometown is the Chamber of Commerce has set up a book signing for me, and I'm excited about that. And I would like to go on some book tours. And there's one in Bologna. I think it's Bologna, Italy. I really would love to go there next year. And also with my book, I can't really share it right now, but it's something I'm taking it all the way with my creativity and my vivid imagination. Prince Patches is he's going places. I'm going to take him places. And when I showed him the book, he just looked at it. He looked, and I read it to him, and he was so in tune. He was looking like he was really truly listening and looking, and he was looking at himself like, that's me. He would look at me and he'll look at I said, yep, that's you, Patches. That's you. I say, you're famous now.
And I'm on the big stage now.
Yes. I say, he's a prince. He's something though, but he's something. He's very smart. The dogs are smart though, but he's smart. And I tell him, I love you, Patches. And he knows we have that bond. When I just look at him, I look at him and just look at him. And I'm looking at him like, come to me. And he just comes because he knows, I know he's coming just by looking at him. And he comes and he just put his little paws up and try to walk to me like that. And he's a joy. He's a joy. He's a good dog. And he must go for his walks. He loves to go for his walks. That's a must.
That's a must. He need to walk.
He let me know Come on, it's time for you to come take me for a walk. Yeah, he loves his walks, and then he's happy. He's happy.
I love that. I love that. Miss Simpkins, thank you for coming on and speaking with us about Prince Patches. This is a wonderful book. And I think a lot of kids and adults are going to love reading this book and learning a lot. Let the people know where they can find you. If you have social media, where they can find the book. This is your time to let everybody know.
All right, my book, you can find my book at Amazon.com, Black Bookstore. You can find my book on social media, lacue.com, LACUE.com. And you can also find my book at Nubian Bookstore, which is in Morrow, Georgia, out at South Lake. And I'm preparing my book now for Barnes and Nobles.
Love that. Love that. We're going big time. We're going big time with Patches.
Oh, yes, Patches. Patches. I have to keep him safe and keep him healthy. Yes, and I hope to perhaps take him on some of my book signings with me.
We would
so they can see the real Patches.
Right. We will love to see Patches. I know he's doing great, and I know you're going to go place with this book. And I want to thank you again for coming on and speaking with us. And thank you again. Thank you for everything.
And I thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate Rolling Out, Munson and everybody, the whole Rolling Out family. I'm gonna roll with you.
And we appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you again, Miss Simpkins.
Thank you.